Good morning, Rabbi Isai. Rabbi Isai, we have a wonderful video here that a special school in Lakewood, a really good school in Lakewood. I think it's called YTT, you'll see. They put together like a 20-minute presentation, unbelievable. And we had the zchusim to be part of it. There's one thing missing. I don't have the sticker here. Be'ezer Hashem, tomorrow we'll put a sticker here. I want you to pay attention to the detail. There's kids wearing robes. They have emblems right over here. Take a look at this. This is a masterpiece. Pashat, a masterpiece. You have some volume? Here we go.
What's going on in this week? Good morning, Rabbi Isai! Bit better, Rabbi Isai. Good morning, Rabbi Isai! Okay, let's go see our emails for this morning. The first email is from Yeshiva Torah in Lakewood, New Jersey. The learning should be zchus that they should have lots of atzlacha in the raising campaign. Verdict. And they sent us a picture. This is how the raising campaign looks. And
I'm not part of it. I don't know what this cheder is, but it's great.
Now, Rava brings another case where, let's say, you have a person, and a bull comes and knocks him out of here. So, obviously, the bull is going to be Chaya means we're going to kill the bull, and he maybe even have to pay kaifer. Matters on the case. Zogdashi. That's why Rava says his din in this specific case. Have a wonderful day.
Guys, action. We have action here. We have action
Okay,
here.
that's... Changed my life. Very good, very good. Raise the campaign. Rabbi said, just donate over there. Forget MDY. Just give them anything you have. I bet I should... How do you get the... that's exactly what I texted Tomer, like, I don't have one of those. There are all these kids wearing the robes, and they all have the mugs, the whole time. What? The insignia, they did their own little thing. Gewaldig. Love it. Somebody remind me, I'll go on there and give them a little donation, maybe. What else do we have here? No, I can't promise. I still owe Avi Kamiansky's son a donation. Kitzer, thank you for doing the Hebrew shir. And it's great. It's one of the first emails from the Israelis. So there's a choshev, a guy, an avrech. His name is Avi Pelkovich. He was learning in Kollel with the shir yesterday. So Givaldig, Talmud and Chassid Nisan Cohen, brother of Rav Tuvia, cousin of the one and only Shimi Liefman and Yisrael Goldstein, two and only. Thanks to Shapsi Cohen for persuading me and making sure I watched the shir. Massive shout out to all those behind the scenes, and especially to my dear friend Rabbi Yosef Biliak. I want to remind the Olam, we're 2 days in to Sefer Shmois. It's never too late to join Shnai Mikra V'Chatargum. It's kedai to join if you haven't done it yet. The Kollel is sponsored for the week, the last day, by Yedidya Pereira. Lezchut zivug hagen b'karov. We're going to say it once, and then he has another sponsorship for Chana Rocha Bas Michal, Chaim David ben Shulamis, Shoshana Bracha Bas Shulamis. The Kollel for the day for the refuah shlema of Chana Hinda Bas Gittel, refuah shlema, the Masechta sponsored for the unity of Am Yisrael. Parnas HaChodesh, Yosef ben Chaya, sorry for all the zchusim that come from supporting limud HaTorah. Parnas HaChodesh, Yedidya Pereira. The zchus, the zivug hagen of those three people. Parnas HaChodesh, Rav Noam, Avi, Gary, and Yosef for all your relentless commitment to MDY. Parnas HaChodesh, Linishma Zechariah ben Moshe, Linishma Chaya bas Yosef. Parnas HaChodesh, Ahron Fraiman, it should be a zchus to Reb Eli for continued siyat d'shmaya and teaching Torah to Klal Yisroel. Thank you so much. Thank you. The Parnas HaChodesh, the 6th one, Lili Nishmas, Kol Chayalei Tzahal Shenaflu B'Kiddush Hashem, Al Kiddush Hashem. Parnas HaYoim, Peretz Chaim Levin, L'Zeichi Nishmas Yaakov ben Reb Isser Tzeilengold. On his 15th yard side by his son-in-law, may his neshama have an aliyah. I would also like to thank the MDY Kollel for hosting me, and special thanks to Tomer Levy. And here he was sitting for over a week. I got a picture of him when he wasn't looking because they were telling me he's taking pictures of you, videos. I couldn't say anything inappropriate while he was here. So here he is. Baruch Hashem, the Island was learning here. You can see in the back, you see a Litvak and a Chassid learning. There's a guy with a blue shirt, I don't know who that is, learning with one of the Avreichem. that's Tomer Levy, and they have Reb Pesach, Reb Peretz Chaim Levin learning and steiging mamish for hours straight. He didn't even go to breakfast. After Shachris, straight through the Kollel, all the way to Mincha. So Yishkoyach for joining us. And should have Atzlacha. You're going back today, I hear. I don't know. He wants to invite more people here. It's not a good idea. Not a good idea because then it's hard for me to learn when the Olam is here. It's all about okay. Just kidding. They should come. The more, the better. I don't know. I don't remember when I said if I said the story. Did I say who he recruited? Did I say it in the English here? No. Peretz Chaim Levin, even though he's on vacation, he brought with him one of those roll-up signs to Shamshi gave it to him, a roll-up sign to recruit people. And there's good news. Baruch Hashem, when he was at Kever Reb Shim by Chaya, he recruited a guy, and as he's getting his information, it turns out that the guy's name is Muhammad Atta from Hebron. He almost recruited one of ours, so we're this close to having one of them part of the share. The Baruch Hashem, he took the information. He already has information. Do not send him a Gemara, Tomer, wherever you are. But he did get, how many? Once in a while, you got 4 people. But then he cries when he only got like 25 people at a certain event that he went to. Givaldik. So he's holding, where are you holding? Over 1,000. That's it. We're not counting anymore. Rabbi Isai, we're holding the Samach, Amud Aleph, on top. Here's an interesting Shiloh. It's unfortunately Negela Maisa, or not so Negela Maisa. You're walking down the street and you see a terrorist in your friend's Tesla, and you happen to have an RPG on your shoulder, and you're wondering if halachically it's okay to blow him up together with your friend's Tesla. Is that okay or not okay? It's Talmud Chacham that wasn't even here last night. What? Anybody? Donnie, what are you doing over there? Shnai Mikra? Because the shir has started. So what do you say to the Shiloh?
He's raising money.
Anybody? He's raising money for RPGs. All right. So I think Reb Shamshi over here is saying that you're allowed to do it on condition that you have intent to pay the guy back. But if you don't have intent to pay him back, you're not allowed to do it, and it's a sugya. It's one of those halachas that are a little, come on, I got to kill the terrorist. Yeah, for sure.
You're allowed to.
Yeah.
The question is whether you have to pay for the Tesla.
That's what I just said. Right.
If he's gonna hurt somebody else.
Okay, we're gonna get to the whole sugya. Enough, Rabbi Isai. We got to get some more of these Avreichim guys. The YU guys, it's just too stark for me. He's sitting over here, sitting over there. I don't know what's going on here. Okay. Yeah, okay. The Gemara also speaks about it. Oh, hold on, we'll get there. I don't want to hear one shita from you. Okay, if it's machlokes, then let me know. Says the Gemara like this: Shalach bi'at pikeach pikeach chayav. So it said in the Mishnah that if you send it with the pikeach, but then it says like this: if there's like 3 ingredients, there's fire, wood, and you have to flame the fire, so the one that flamed the fire is chayav. Omer Nachman bar Yitzchak, mandetoni liba. So the word in the Mishnah was with the limud liba. He flamed the fire. Lo mishtavesh, you didn't make a mistake. Mandetoni niba, and if you wrote it with a nun, also good. Lo mishtavesh, it's not a mistake. Oh, first of all, Shalom Aleichem, what's your name? I forgot. You're sitting so close. What? Eli Levy from Toronto. Shalom Aleichem. Thank you for joining. So, it doesn't matter how you read it. Either way you read it, you're doing okay. Because it says in the pasuk, from the heart, huh? Oh! This week's parsha. Not the only thing in this daf. The heart of the fire, the flame of the fire. So, it's with the base. Uman the ton in niba with the nun. Lo mishtavish. Don't make a mistake. The siv boirei niv sifosayim. The HaKadosh Baruch Hu created the speech. Speech comes from the wind that comes out of the lips. When you move your lips, it's also that's why we call it a navi. Losha niv sifosayim. So it's with the nun. Next, By the way, Rabbi Isai, we're coming up to a huge Agadat Sugi also today. Easier stuff. Lipsa ruach kulim pturim. If the wind came and it caused the flame, so everybody's part. Tomer Levy. Liba v'lipsa ruach. So, just a quick overview here. If 50% of the flame, you're flaming the flame. If 50% came from the human being, he blew, with 50% help from the wind, that's 50-50, potter. Now, the Gemara is going to be discussing that case. Why is 50 and 50 potter? It's like Shnaim Shasu, it's two that did one Belacha, you should be Chaya. Okay, so the top one is what we're going to be dealing with. But I just want to point out another thing. The human being had in his breath, his blowing, enough to flame up the flame by himself 100%, but also the wind does, you're also potter. If a human being has 100%, and the wind is not really helping, the wind only helped 50%, the wind by itself wouldn't be able to make the fire, but the human being by himself would be able to make the fire, chayiv. We want to be dealing with the first case, 50 and 50. Liba v'lipsa ruach. Im yesh b'libuyav k'dei l'laboisa. If he's 100 and the wind is 50, chayav. V'mlav potter. So here, we have a nice thing here. See, he is blowing really, really strong. So he's able to make the flame by himself. And you see the flag, it's blowing in the same direction. Not that much. Only it would be able to do 50. So he's chayiv. V'mlav potter. If he himself is only 50 and the wind is 50, then he's potter. Ask the Gemara, on that case, amai. Lehevi kizoyre v'ruach misayato. Here's Zoyra. So the first process in the Shabbos, you have to first reap it, but then you take the wheat with the stalks, with everything, and you do dash. You break it down, and when they're in pieces, now you have to separate the chaff from the actual kernel. So you take it, you throw it up in the air, and the wind blows the chaff away, and the kernels drop down because they're heavier. Here's a different type of way of looking at it. Okay. If you do that, you're 50, you threw it up in the air, the wind does 50 by blowing, you're chayiv. So why in this case, 50-50, are you chayiv? And we just said that if you're 50% and the wind helps you 50%, you are potter. Why? So we have a number of answers here. Omar Abaya. So first we're going to say three answers that say that, yeah, you're right. You should be chayiv. 50-50, you're chayiv. In this particular case, you're potter because we're talking about something special. So, Rabbi, take a look. Oops, it went too fast. This is Zoyra v'ruach misayeya. Take a look real quickly because it goes by quick. Here, right here. Boof. He's blowing and the wind blows. Okay. So now the Gemara says, Abai says it goes like this. He's blowing one way. The wind is blowing in the opposite way. So the wind actually cancels him out. And what he did is nothing. I forgot to tell Yoshi that the flame should actually go towards his face. It should go in the opposite way. I forgot to tell him. It would make a lot more sense. The wind is stronger than him and he's not accomplishing much. Okay. Maybe we can fix it before it goes out. I tried to fix it, Yosef. I don't know. It was too complicated. I don't know what he did there. Okay, so he's a nothing. What he's doing is zero because the wind is canceling him out and everything that was done here was done by the wind. Not really 50-50, you should be chayiv just like Zoyra on Shabbos. But he thought that there's going to be a simple wind and he's blowing together with the wind. He didn't realize a big wind came and that's why it became a flame. So it was something he didn't intend. We have a picture of that also. Take a look at how he does it. Rashi says, like when a person warms his hands up on a cold winter day, he blows hot air into his mouth. He's not blowing, he's blowing like with his mouth wider open. So that doesn't help to create a flame. Tosfos even goes as far as saying that it's hot versus cold. You need cold air, not hot air. Okay. The last line in Tosfos Dibur Masker Reb Zera. Rav Ashi Omar. Rav Ashi comes and says, Pshat, Ki amrin zoyer v'ruach misayato yhanel milion Shabbos. When do I say 50 plus 50? I do 50% and the wind does 50%, I'm chayav. That's only in Hilchas Shabbos. The meleches machsheves asur Torah. The Torah says, "B'charesh 7 l'mala ois." B'charesh says, "Lasis b'chol meleches machashaves." It's a melacha is your intent, and this was your intent. Your intent was that this should be accomplished. That you should do zor. You should be able to separate the chaff from the wheat, and you accomplished that. Doesn't matter how it happened. Aval hacha, but by nizakin, you try to make a flame. Groma balmu, ugroma ben nizakin potter. Since you didn't do the whole entire thing, you only did 50%. The wind did the other 50%. So that's already a groma. That's you caused it to happen, and when you cause damage, you are potter. It's different than Shabbos. You can't compare. So he comes from a different view. Unlike the other three, he says, yes, 50 plus 50, you're potter. All the other three say 50 plus 50, you're chayiv. Just over here, it's not 50-50. It was the wind was 100 and you were nothing. And that, all the shot. He says, no. 50-50, you're potter. Only in Shabbos, you're chayiv because meleches machsheves. Says the Eli Mishnah, sponsored by Moshe Cohen, zchus, to have atzlach parnasa berevach, and ruchnius, adin soif. Hashrileach is a be'era. So all the Mishnah is saying is that when you send the fire, it doesn't matter what it burns. It could burn valuable things. It could burn stones. It could burn the dirt. You're chayiv. Shleach is a be'era of achla eitzim. It ate trees, oyavanim, and we're going to learn each one from a pasuk. If you scorch the stone, oyafar, or you cause somebody plows his field, and then you burn his field, it's like little grass left and you burn the field, so now he has to replow the whole thing. You dried up the soil, you ruined the whole plow, so now you have to pay him for that extra plow. Chaya, shenemar, as it says in Pasuk, the Pasuk says 4 things. Fire went out, found thorns, v'nechal gadish, ate the bale of hay, oyakama, or tall hay, oyasada, or the field. Now, the field over here, as the Gemara is going to explain, cannot mean a field full of wheat, because we already spoke about wheat. We said kama. We already spoke about a gadish. So now the field means the basic field, meaning dirt, stones, and even that you have to pay for. Shalim yishalim hamaver sabeira, you have to pay for kindling the fire, for making the fire. Oh my Rav. So Rav explains the pasuk. Lamali the kazer rachmana kaitzim gadish kama v'sada. Here you have all 4. Kaitzim are thorns. Gadish is a bale of hay. Kama. Each one tells us one chiddush. Tzrichi the kazer rachmana kaitzim have amina kaitzim udachay rachmana. Maybe only thorns. The Torah says you're chayiv from the shchiach eshgabayu. People like to burn thorns, and there's always fire. Shchiach the pasha, and it's very common that you make a mistake and you burn somebody else's thorns. You're burning yours, then the neighbor gets burnt. Okay, so you have to pay for that. It's very rare that you burn a bale of hay. Haystack, thank you, haystack. And it's very uncommon to be negligent. Maybe I would think it's a einus. So, okay. The Torah spoke about a gadish, a haystack. We shouldn't have some meruba. It's a lot of money. Have a kaitzin, have some muad. Who cares about some thorns? Maybe let's just ignore it. You don't have to pay for it. Have some muad. Big chiddush. Fine. Like, why would I think if it's a pruta, it's a pruta? Okay, I would have such a havamina. Why do I have to talk about standing wheat? Makama b'galoi, avkol b'galoi. And this is the halacha, the famous halacha of Talmud, that if something is hidden in a bunch of, it could be wheat, it could be under a blanket, and the fire comes, you are potter. There's machlokes, as we're going to see in a second. So we hold that this comes to exclude Talmud. You don't have to pay for covered items. Well, they're reviewed, but what about the one who argues and says you are chayiv kama lamali? So what does he do with the word kama? The rabbi is kol balak kaima. Anything tall, even a tree, even an animal that's tall, says Rashi, you chayiv for it all. But the rabbis called about, we already used up kaima to talk about tamun. So how do they know things that are tall minalu? Nafkelu ma'oya kama, from the extra word oy. Oh, so if there's extra word oy, so the other man Rabbi Yehuda, what does he do with it? L'chalik, to say you don't need all these 4 things together. You could burn kaitzim your chayiv, you could burn gadish your chayiv. You don't need kaitzim and a gadish. If the Torah would say all 4 together without oy and, then I would think you need all 4 in order to be chayiv. Comes to separate. So then how do Rabbanan know that you don't need all 4 together? it says the word oy twice in that pasuk. Rabbi Yehuda, I did because of Rachmana. Oyakam because of Oyasada, just to give it a little consistency in the pasuk that should look good the way it was written. So it said oy twice, but it's not there to learn anything from. Okay, so we learned 3 out of the 4. The final one is Sada Lamali. Why does the Torah talk about a field? Here. So this is, it's not the perfect picture, but I just took it from Yoshi's video. In other words, if a guy plowed the field, this is already like, you could, fine, pretend that this was plowed before, and you went ahead and you burnt it. This is what it would look like, basically, a dark field. Now he has to go and replow it. And you scorch the stones.
He has to wait. He can't replow right away. He's going to have to wait till it comes back to itself.
Why? I'm not a farmer, but
anytime you see it takes months until the ground actually.
Yeah, but if he
heals.
just plowed it yesterday, that you're talking about healing from planting, from a fire. Okay. Okay. I'm not going to argue. I don't know about these things. So it says the Gemara. Okay, so it comes to say chiddush that you burn somebody's stone, you also have to pay. I think something valuable, something I don't know, food. So why don't they just say the word sada and that includes everything? It includes food, includes not food, includes stones, dirt. Because of Rahman sada have amina mashu b'sada in midach min Eli. I think no. Maybe it means only things that are in the field, but not. Maybe it means, I don't know, just stones, just dirt. But it doesn't mean wheat and things like that. Kamash. So I learned from the word kama, it means fruit. Sada means stone. So now I have everything. Kamash. And here we go. Here's that gadata. Ein puranos ba'loilam elabizman sharasham ba'olam. The bad stuff that happens in this world is because there are Rishayim in this world. So then I saw somebody ask, so there's always Rishayim, so there's always going to be bad. So the Gemara means mainly Rishayim. Fine. Mostly. There's a Roiv. I meant to press this button. Sorry guys up there. Fine. Unfortunately, the one who gets zapped first, the tzaddikim get punished first. Shenemar, it starts from this mission that we just had, and that's how the Gaddah goes. The fire occurred and it found the thorns. What are the thorns? The Rishayim. And Masai H Yaitza. When does the fire go out? When there are thorns, when there are Rishayim. So how do you know that the tzaddik gets punished first? The Gadish refers to the tzaddik. It doesn't say, and it will eat the Gadish. Ella v'nechal Gadish and nechal Gadish kvar, that the haystack was already consumed by the flames. In other words, he was first. Tomer Rav Yosef, Maidich Siv. It says by Makas B'chayres v'atem lo yiseitzu ish mipesach beiso yad boiker. But when Makas B'chayres happened, don't go outside of your house. Kiven shenita reshus lamashches enu mafchim ben tzadikim l'rishayim. Once the Malchamavis goes and starts destroying, so then unfortunately it takes there's a concentration camp. Then even the tzaddikim, gemurim, everybody goes. It's a disaster for humanity. The Grizz says by the famous Psukim by Zdaim, he says Ha'af tispa tzaddikim rasha. Avram Avinu, what? He says Ha'af tispa tzaddik im rasha. That he says based on this Gemara we can understand that he's telling HaKadosh Baruch Hu af, which is a lashon, I think the uncle says beroiges, something like that, like with anger. When HaKadosh Baruch Hu is angry, then it's dangerous that it's a time of Puranos that HaKadosh Baruch Hu will take the tzaddik together with the rasha, even though the tzaddik doesn't deserve. And then he says afterwards, Al no yichar, don't be upset. In other words, if you're not upset, maybe the tzaddikim will be saved. But we have a concept that tzaddikim go together with the Rishayim, even though they don't deserve it. What's even worse is that the tzaddik goes first. Shenemar vichrati mimech tzaddik v'rasha. First the tzaddik goes, then the rasha. Bachi Rav Yosef. So Rav Yosef started crying. Kulehai nami la'ayin doimin. What are we? We're worthless. we don't have any value that we go first. It's actually good. Because of the good, but the bad, that tzaddik will be taken beforehand, so he doesn't see the whole thing. And I know you're going to jump to World War II. I'll get there in a second. But before we get there, in this week's parsha, we learned it this morning here in the show. We're going to learn it again. Yosef, that before the shibud started, before Klal Yisroel had the terrible slavery, first all the shvatim had to go. First all, there couldn't be a single shevet left, because if there's one of the shvatim that remained, there wouldn't be the galus. But they say that, and I looked it up, that Rebarch Ber was nifter in November 1939. And the war started in September of 39. Reb Shimon Shkop, October 39. And Reb Chaim Oizer, the Gal Adar, Chaim Oizer Grudensky, everybody considered him the Gal Adar, was nifter just in August of 1940 before it got there. But basically all in the beginning of the war, they didn't see the whole, that's what they said. Okay. Huh?
9/11, Yedidya Miller, the gifter, and Pam were on the thread before 9/11.
Interesting. Okay. Rav Miller, Rav Pam, and who else? Rav Gifter. When were they nifter? September 9th? Don't tell me in 1998. A few weeks before. Wow. 2000? Look it up. Somebody, Wikipedia right now, Rav Gifter. Maybe it's Machlekes. It's not Machlekes. 2000. Omar Rav Yudom Rav. Huh? Half a year before, he says. Daf Samach Amud Beis. Lo Olam Yikonos. Rabbi Yisai, I just want to remind the Olam that every time we learn Agadata, there are many things that are not understood plainly. We could read it and just translate the words as is. Many times, as a lot of Achronim discuss, that the Agadata, there's a lot of hidden things, a lot of Kabbalah, a lot of secrets, and the Gemara throws it in like in ways of stories, and those who understand. I, Baruch Hashem, understand, but I can't explain it to you guys. I'm not privileged. I could wink sometimes to you guys, but I won't be able to completely explain it. When a person goes on a trip, he should leave when it's light outside, and he should leave, and he should come back when it's light, shenemar. And we just had this pasuk when we spoke about the first test in the Torah, the first test in this pasuk, ki toiv. It's good. Light is good. So it's a siman that you should go in the daytime. Shenemar v'atem lo yiseitzu ish mepesach beisoy ad boiker. We learn. It's interesting. You can learn from different psukim in the Torah, even though over there it's talking more about, there's a mashchis running around, and I shouldn't say running around because it's really HaKadosh Baruch Hu. The mashchis is killing all the firstborns of Mitzrayim. It's not a good time to go out, but nevertheless it says don't go out at boiker. Don't go out. And we learn a lesson for generations. You don't leave at night. Tomer Levy. Dever be'ir kaneis raglecha. The Gemara is teaching us if there's a plague, terrible plague. So that what, stay inside?
This was the most famous.
Yeah, okay. For Corona. Well, what they say is, and again, I'm not pasking, and I just saw different things. That if I think it's even the Rishonim, it might even be here in Tais, I don't remember where I saw it, that if you're able to make a move quickly, most likely you should run. Once the plague is here, then kaneis reglecha, go inside and don't come outside. Shenemar v'atem lo yiseitzu ish mepesach beisoy ad boiker v'oimer. And there's another pasuk. By the way, the Black Plague. First of all,
the running is down here.
What?
Running away is down here.
It says run away first down there. Who brings it?
Run away from the plague.
The Ma'aril and the Shulchan Aruch.
Oh.
What does that mean?
No. We'll see soon that when it comes to a famine, you run. Certain times you run. A lot of people say, people told me, people say now, You have to have emunah, you have to have a bitachon. The Gemara is saying that if you're able to, you make a move, you run. If there's a plague, if there's a famine. Oh, so over here it says, right, so what they're explaining, that it means that once it came, part of the reason that the plague was so devastating is because people ran. They got infected, and then they ran to another city, and they infected that city, and they ran, and everyone's running, the whole Europe. How many people died in the Black Plague? 50 million people, they say. 50 million people. It's like almost 10 times the amount of...
And they weren't running. They weren't running. They weren't running.
They did, that's why...
They didn't move around as much as we did. Everyone was going traveling, and they brought it from country to country.
Oh, country to country, yeah. That's why they got the whole Europe, though. They ran within Europe. I had a guest for Pesach. You all remember the terrible Pesach? And we were davening from our porches. Remember? On Pesach. Everybody was in their own house on the porch. And this individual said that the Rabbanim in New York said that you can't even go to the porch because you can get contaminated, you can get infected from the porch. So he refused to go the entire Pesach. He's sitting inside, like deep into the house. Okay. I just reminded him. I said, remember that? Yeah, that was a little extreme. Voimer. What? We had if you're going back and doing chazara, and you see that there's only 10 people in this room, you should know it's during Corona. We didn't allow more than 10 people, and most of us were wearing masks.
Some didn't.
There was one that didn't, and that one would sit over here. And you'll see, it's but there was only 10. It's not because it wasn't a popular shir. I want anybody to think. Another pasuk. Michutz tishakel cherev u'mechadorem ema. Outside is going to be the malach hamaves with his sword, and inside is going to be fear. You'll say that you have to go inside at night. Oh, I have here. What am I talking about? I should have done this. Here, you ready? Here we go. Oh, you had to. What the
volume was? What the volume was?
2. No, I don't know. It says 2 on this.
Second song in the first album.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Look what it says here.
Not that out. It's wrong. Mistake. 100%.
Okay.
Checking out the...
No, maybe this is later.
No, it's the second volume, but it's not on the
Okay. No, enough. Okay, Toshma. All right.
Shweki made it. You got to see.
Chavike madrega. That the hemshech of the pasuk, as you hear him say, Chavike madrega, just hide for a moment. Uzgor loscha. Leichami b'rovi b'chaderecha. Uzgor loscha ba'adecha. Close the door behind you. So there are those who say that this is referring b'zman hazeh. A good idea would be, this is not for me, but people that can control themselves. The good idea is to throw yourself in a room, close the door, and don't look at your WhatsApp. Don't know what's happening outside, because that itself just brings a lot of anxiety and issues. Maybe you'll say that's only when there's no fear inside. Let's say you're scared inside. Maybe it's better to sit outside, shmooze, fabrang with your friends, ba'alma, just outside, tfei, mali, maybe it's better. Toshma, michutz t'shakel cherev, u'mechadorim eima. Outside it's worse. Over there is the sword, the malchamavis is running around. U'mechadorim, inside, you're right, eima, there's fear. But outside, Rabbi say outside is no good. Outside is cherev. Just last night, last night at 12 o'clock, 00, I don't know if you were aware, I mean, you're here in this room, so you know, but in America, they don't know. 12:00, as there were, people shooting their fireworks, at least 30 missiles came in from God. It was crazy, one of the worst things, and we heard the Iron Dome intercepted a lot of booms. It wasn't that scary, but it was interesting. It was at the end of the day, it was a nice display of fireworks, but sometimes when you're inside, you have fear. Outside is worse. You get zets by a missile. What are you showing? Okay. The Ben Yoyada I saw it this morning, so I know it's the Ben Yoyada. It's not brought down. I thought it was brought down in Ben Ish Chai, which is the same. But Ben Yoyada brings that a mashal. He says that I think it's a very important mashal. He says that a guy met the Malach HaMavis. It's not a real story. A mashal. He met the Malach HaMavis and he says, "What are you doing?" He says, "I came to make a plague here." And then he asked the Malach HaMavis, "How many are you going to kill in the plague?" He said, "I'm going to kill 5,000." A few weeks go by and 15,000 died. So he meets the Malach HaMavis again. He says, "You lied to me. You told me 5,000. What happened?" He says, "No, I didn't lie to you. I killed 5,000. 10,000 died from anxiety, from fear." And if you go back, you start thinking about what happened in Corona. I'm not a doctor and I don't know. No, I don't think anybody knows what happened. It was if you remember that the Chaver Kadisha had 20-something bodies on the floor. They didn't have a place to put them in the refrigerators in Borough Park. And they were renting refrigerating trucks on Coney Island with dripping with the human. There's no revival then, remember? Why? And then today everybody has corona, it's not a problem. I don't know. But maybe a big part of it was the fear. People mamish thought, "Oh, I got corona, I'm gonna die," and they kill themselves. The biggest killer in the ghettos was heart attacks from fright. Maisa Shah, you telling me, Rocky? That's what you heard. Okay, unbelievable. Fright. 4 years ago today, and how is that connected from dying to dying? You're just throwing that in to break it up. What a segue! He had enough of this people dying from corona. The boy say, "Let me throw something out." 4 years ago today. What? When? Oh, you're saying it does have a connection. 4 years ago today? Was this it? We just started we moved into this building 4 years ago?
Yeah, today.
Today, 4 years ago today. Mazel tov. Givaldic. Maybe it has to do with the guy you brought in. Unbelievable. 4 years, it was perfect timing.
What?
Tashma. Rabbi say, we have Shachris coming up. Rava be'idin ritcha. Rava, when there was a bad news going outside, there was a plague. Have a sochar kavi, he would close the windows. D'chsiv ki Allah mavis b'chalinenu, because death comes through our windows. Some want to say it literally means like the germs and the this, but whatever. Even on a ruchnius way. Tomer Rabbanan, Rav be'ir pazer reglecha. If there's famine in the city, run. Shenem avayi Rav ba'aretz ve'ed Avram Mitzrayma lager sham. Avram ran away. Va'omer imamarnu nava'ir. People would think, no, they even asked the Rishonim asked, but maybe you should have emunah and bitachon, and maybe you shouldn't run. No, you have to make your ishtadlus. Says the Gemara, there's another pasuk. There was 4 Mitzrayim that was put outside of the city because the Mitzrayim goes outside. And they made a calculation. If we stay over here, we don't have any food, we'll die. If we go back inside the city, there's a famine there, we'll die. So the best option for us is to go to the Goyim, to Aram, and see what they can offer us. They might kill us. We might get food. We'll die in the city. So anytime the Gemara brings a second pasuk like it did before, we have to understand, why do we need a second raya? If in the second place is a nice, good country, you go to America, this is food, nobody's going to kill you, great. Maybe if you go to, I don't know, one of these countries that hate Jews, maybe you shouldn't go there. They took a sakana, they took a risk, and it's a bad risk. Why? Because if they die, they're going to die quicker. If they stayed outside, let's say they have 2 weeks to live there. Today, if they go to Aram, they might die today, and that's a problem.
There's a suffix that comes by Avram also. Sara didn't lie about it being her brother.
I hear. Okay. Cher. He says there's a suffix by Avram Avinu also. You see it from Avram Avinu. So that'll be a kasha. Why didn't he need a va'omer? Okay. Says the Gemara, Toner Rabbanan. Tashma, Toner Rabbanan. There's plague in the city. Again, so over here is one of these things I believe that's more Kabbalistic. Don't walk in the middle of the street because that's where you're going to bump right into the Malach HaMavis himself. The Kivin, the Yavel Rishusa, Mazg Lahedya, since he has permission to kill, he'll kill you. Shalom Be'er, if there's peace, don't go on the sides. The Kivin, the less than Rishusa, since he doesn't have permission, so he's hiding slightly on the side. What does that mean? He's hiding, he's on the side. What is he? He's a person, he's going on the side. Some say that it means like you should act in the midah mamutza, in the average way. Don't take too many risks. Don't do this. Don't do it because you'll get him mad. You act normal. But when this shalom, then the opposite, then you could take whatever, something like that. Toner Rabbanon, never beer. When there is plague, don't go into a shul by yourself. Why? Again, things that we don't understand. He leaves his tools. The tools of death are in the shul. Dafka in a shul that there's no children learning. I think the pshat is, unless you can tell me differently, it means dafka you need children because children don't sin, so they have more power than the adults. You need a place that there's a minyan. Basically, MDY doesn't have any kelim of the Malach HaMavis. We have the shear of the kids, MDY kids, and we have minyanim here. Tomer Rabbanon, Klavim Beichim. When the dogs cry, Malach HaMavis Baleir, then it means that it's a sign that the Satan, the Malach HaMavis, is coming to the city. Some Sofer asks, so how come by Yitzis Mitzrayim the dogs were screaming, and we say Lo Yecher Skel V'Shoyin to stop them from screaming? So he says, because over there wasn't the Malach HaMavis. Over there was HaKadosh Baruch Hu by himself. If dogs are happy and joyful, Eliyahu Navi Balir. Then even Eliyahu, then they know Eliyahu Navi is coming to the city. That's only when there's no nekeva, because then maybe they're just hacking because of the nekeva. But over here, if there's no nekeva, it's a raya that Eliyahu Navi is coming. I thought maybe you could say that a kelev is the most tamei animal that we have, right? And the Gemara is telling us, even if you are on the lowest madrega, you're a human being that did terrible, terrible things, you could also be zoichet to certain giluyim and certain, if you do the right thing or whatever. Even a dog, on the lowest, he's the shval madrega, the most tamei animal, mechir kelev, afal pikein. Or maybe not, maybe you don't like that. As another thing is that I saw somebody trying to say that it's al pi teva sort of, which I'm not so into, but if you think about it, talking about dogs saved hundreds of Jewish lives in the last few months in Gaza. They have certain intuitions and certain, not intuitions, but more, they rely on their smell and their hearing that's on a different level. It's almost like a ruchnis level. They could hear bugs in trees. Like I said, this guy in Bet Shemesh trains German Shepherds to hear a bug in a tree. He sells that dog for $50,000. Or he trained the dog to smell dollars. He goes in an airport, he can tell you which suitcase has the dollar bills, etc., etc. So, not that that's the pshat here. Obviously, we're talking about more of a ruchnis thing, but I'm just saying in general. Huh? Says the Gemara, Yosef Rebami Revasi coming to Rabbi Yitzchak Napcho. Rebami Revasi. We're sitting, I didn't hear. What did he say? It was a good one?
People look at us and smell dollars.
A lot of people can smell dollars. Yosef Rebami Revasi coming to Rabbi Yitzchak Napcho. You have the famous Rebami Revasi sitting in front of Rabbi Yitzchak. And they say, could you please tell us halacha? One says, tell me halacha. No, I don't want to hear halacha now, I'm not in the mood. Tell me some Agadta. He says, I'll tell you Agadta. But the other one says, no, I want to hear halacha, stop. So he starts saying halacha. So he said, stop. He says the famous mashal. A man has two wives. He has a younger wife and an older wife. The younger one takes out his white hairs from his beard, or from his head, and the older one takes out the black hairs to make him look that he's old. Ninsa, so he becomes a bald man. Mikan umikan. Raboisai, we have a picture. Look at his face. Okay, anyway, that's the idea. Each one pulls from a different direction and he's left without a beard. Okay, you don't want Agadita, you don't want halacha. Let me tell you something that's good for everybody. Let me tell you a story, a mashal. Everybody wants to hear a good story. Just like that Rosh Hashiva from America that understood this idea, and he chapped that if you would stay sorry, people will like it. So in front of 700 people, he's giving a drush, and the whole place fell asleep. It was bedafka. He wanted Doilam to have a good gishmak dremel, so he didn't say a single story, he didn't say a single mashal, he didn't say nothing, just blah, 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 and Doilam, he chapped it. It's Mefurish Gemara. Maybe you should just erase that. They're gonna cancel. They're gonna. It's like, was he talking about me? Oy da Rosh Merusha. Kiseitze So it says in the pasuk that this the fire came by itself. It doesn't say that a human being lit it. All of a sudden just comes out. Then at the end of the pasuk it says that the human being did it. Hamavir, the one that lit it, ignited it. It says HaKadosh Baruch Hu. I have to pay you back for the fire that I lit myself. I lit up the Beis Hamikdash. Now I'm going to rebuild it. That HaKadosh Baruch Hu, everything is midah keneged midah. Since he destroyed the Beis Hamikdash with fire, he's going to rebuild the Beis Hamikdash with fire. Shmaitza, and the halacha is pasach hakasav b'niski mamoino v'sim b'niski gufay. It starts off saying that the fire by itself, almost like an animal, went out to do damage. Doesn't say anything about a human. V'sim b'niski gufay. Then it says that hamavir, he caused it. Lo melacha isha mishum chitzay. The famous halacha that we discussed yesterday is fire like your property, like your animal. So even if it makes a right and then a left, it goes straight, pauses, it's still your problem because it's your property. Or fire is your force. It came from you. So if there's any kind of something in between that disturbs it, then it's not you. Vayisav David. We're going into this piece. The David HaMelech, it says in two different places. It says in Shmuel and Divrei Hayom, almost the same story. But it says that David HaMelech was thirsty. And he says, I want water from this place. And he sent the three strongest people that he has. And the Navi is trying to show how strong they were. Who's going to get me water? So the Yerushalmi brings in Sanhedrin. It's brought down over there in the Navi. I saw. Bar Kapar says, why do you need 3 Giborim? Says, I need 3 Giborim, 1 to kill the Plishtim, 1 to clear the path, like the D9, clear the path so there's no bodies, and the bodies will be metama the water, and 1 to carry the water, 1 to kill, 1 to clear, 1 to carry the water. So says the Gemara, and it says that in the pasuk, I don't want the water. I take the water, pour it as a libation, as a nesach f'HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So the Gemara says, listen, it doesn't mean he wanted water. What it means is he wanted to ask a halacha in Gemara. He wanted to ask a shayla to the Sanhedrin. So my comment was the question. Amar Rav Nachman. Tomer Beis Komer Bar Eli. This halacha that we saw, that something that's covered by wheat or a fire went and destroyed, consumed something that was covered. Are you Chaya of potter? Is it like Rebuda or Rabbana? Who Pashulei meant the Pashulei? We don't know exactly what they said. Rav Noam Gedishim the Sarim the Yisrael Havu. We're talking about bales of haystacks that were owned by Jews. That the enemy was hiding inside of them. A wheat shield. And he wanted to know, can I burn down the haystacks and killing the enemy in the process? And I'm destroying my friend's property. When you read this, it could irritate you. No, let the terrorist live. Why? Because you're going to cause somebody in Klal Yisroel $25 damage. It doesn't sound good to us, right? So immediately Taisa says, all the Rishonim say the same thing in different ways. His question wasn't, are you allowed to do it? The question was, do I have to pay for it? But one thing is clear. There's also chiddush. You're starving. You're about to die. A person, chas v'shalom, is in a war. I don't know what. He hasn't eaten in 4 days. He passes by a supermarket. Is he allowed to break the glass and grab food to save his life? Yes or no? The answer is it's different than you might have thought. If you have no intent of paying back, it's asur. You must think in your mind, I'm doing this for Pikuach Nefesh and I'm going to pay the guy back 100%. Same thing with us. Same thing with the Tesla. You could blow up the Tesla and kill the terrorist if you have intent to pay the $70,000 that the Tesla cost. But don't say, my friend would have wanted me to kill him and this, and he doesn't care if I blow up the Tesla. It doesn't work like that.
Unless he's endangering other people.
But that's what it says over here. If he's endangering you, so if he's endangering that guy, but what are other people? Are you allowed to use somebody else's property to save a different person?
Yes.
Okay, I don't know. You're saying that.
If he's dying.
Or if you're going to pay for it, you have to have intent to pay. Why should he take the loss, not you?
No, because he's motivated to help himself. So that's always going to be the case. He's always going to want to save.
But he's in America. He's already saved. I'm saying he's not here. You're not saying if you're going to save him, yeah.
Right there on the spot, gonna fire the RPG at Tesla.
The owner of the Tesla is not here. The owner of the Tesla is in America. Are you allowed to burn down his Tesla? But the owner is not here. Why do I have to save other? You save other people. You pay for it. So they said, you're a king and you can do what you want. There's this famous story with the Yosef that the king said, why do you say that a chacham is better than a navi? He says, because everything is in the Torah, you can figure out everything from the Torah. He says, oh yeah? I'm going on a hunting trip right now, and I want to know what gate to the city am I going to go in through? Through the large gate or the smaller gate? So he says, okay, I'll write it down on a piece of paper. When you come back, you open up the piece of paper. The king gets to the gate. He says, listen, if the king usually goes through the larger gate, so he's probably going to write the smaller gate. But he's not an idiot. He knows that I'm going to trick him, so he's going to write the smaller gate. So I'm going to go through the big gate. But he knows I'm not an idiot because he did that cheshbon also, so he's going to do the... Because he's like, I don't know what to do. Oh, I have a chachma. I'm going to break a couple stones and I'm going to go through there. Okay, so that's why he broke the wall and he went in. And then they come and they open up the piece of paper and it says, Melech Peretz Geder. A king is allowed to break open the wall. There was two stacks. One was of lentils and one was barley. And they asked, can we steal or take from the Jewish bales to give to the animal? We're going to take from somebody we don't know. Let's say here's a bunch of Jews, we don't know who owns it, or we do know. Right now we're going to take it to feed our animals. We're in a war, and we're going to pay them back with even better stuff that's worth more. So they said, yeah, you're going to pay back the Gzela, Yishalem, but you still call the Rasha. But you, should we stop here? Because since it's so late. Is it really 8:05? Because it said almost 8:10. Oh, it says 8:05 on the clock. I'm serious. I'm going by that. Rabbi Sai, have a wonderful day. Shir lamalo. Ezri Madino say Shomayim Boretz. Al Yitei Lamardek Lecha Yanum Shemrecha. Inei Lo Yanum Lo Yishon Shemay Yisrael. Adino Shemrecha Adino Zchaya Adiminecha. Yom Hashem Shlo Yakekov Yerei Abaloilo. Adino Yishmecha Mikol Ro Yishmor Nafshecha. Adino Yishmor Zchov Yecha Me'atov Adilo. Machin Kov Yisrael Mesunim B'Tzoro V'Shivyo. Hoy mit beim Bayom und beim Bayabosh und mokim rachem leben zum Torah levachom afel loiro und mishibu legula ashto begalaz man koriv und imar amen.